on other social channels. Awesome. So we already have a hand raised. So I'm going to give a quick spiel. So for those of you who have not been to one of these before, there is a little react button. You can click on it. Feel free to raise a hand. And if I see a hand raises, I will then bring you up and you should be able to unmute at that point, be able to ask your Amazon advertising questions. So cool. We already have a hand raise, so I will bring you up and feel free to ask your question, and we'll be here for probably about an hour or so. Hello. Feel free to unmute and ask your question. Mohammed, I guess you are on deck. I'm not sure if you're able to unmute. If you are able to unmute, that would be great. If not, we have one other hand raise, so I might bring the next person up. If no one has any advertising questions, then I guess you'll just have to hear me try and figure out what to talk about for an hour. Mohammed, are you able to unmute? See one other hand raise. I will bring someone else up and allow you to speak. And then, Mohammed, if you can figure out your mic situation.
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I am fine. It's nice to hear. First, it is my first time here on
Awesome.
live. Okay, so my question is that I am working on a supplement brand. So it's actually a new launch, and the product listing has about 100 reviews. So if we are actually in supplement niche, the client want to increase the sale. So
Yes.
what will be the good strategy to increase the sale, and how will you approach it?
Very good question. So we actually have several brands that I would say are kind of like this. The one very large issue you're going to find is that the cost per clicks are very, very high in the supplement niche. And then depending on how the listing is built out, you might have lower conversion rates. If they have a good listing, it sounds like you have a lot of reviews on it. So that's definitely one of the upward struggles with the supplement niche. So I would say you're off to a really good start. The one thing that we've found is really important in the supplement niche is very you want to run more limited testing, but you also want to test very frequently because the cost per clicks are insanely high. So what you're going to want to do is calculate for the product what is the average amount of clicks to conversion. So you can do that by taking 1 divided by, whatever the average conversion rate is. I would look at the ad conversion rate. I wouldn't look at the unit session percentage. The reason why is because you're looking for ad performance. So I would do it that way. And then that will give for you the average amount of clicks it's going to take you to convert to a sale. So once you kind of have that, then you want to leave some leeway because certain keywords are going to perform better than other keywords. So I would give it an extra couple clicks or so. You'll kind of get a feel for the product at this point, like how much leeway you should leave. But what you want to do is as soon as you kind of get that feedback that something is or isn't working, you want to make sure you adjust as quickly as possible. The reason why is, again, because the cost per clicks are so high, it's really expensive to test what keywords do or don't work for your particular product. So that's what we do is we run like very specific tests, meaning like we'll test a subset of, I don't know, a handful of keywords just to see if they work. And then depending on the tolerance for the client as far as the ACoS, because ACoS can get really high in these markets, again, just due to how competitive they are. We will either test like a smaller subset, or if they're looking to grow sales, we just kind of brace them for the fact that they will see higher ACoS numbers for a bit as we kind of figure out where we can kind of test and move in the market. Is that helpful?
Yes, that's extremely helpful. Actually, in this niche, the CPC is around $4,
Hmm.
$5.
Yeah.
So I actually want to test different things like long tail keyword. Even the main keyword I do want to test, like how will our product perform. The average conversion rate, the weekly conversion rate I'm seeing is about around 25, approximately 20 to 25. So I think so. We do have a good brand presence,
Hmm.
so we are also using the branded keyword as well as the generic keyword. We have good performance on the on the branded keywords. We are having about 2,000 to 3,000 organic sales. So I want to increase and test the PPC part, where the CPC is extremely high. So I
Yeah.
am kind of puzzled, like which keywords should I approach first and test them, uh, since there is extremely high CPC and the product price is around $40.
Yeah.
So uh,
Yeah. Well,
what can be done in this
I
case?
mean, you have a much higher price point where we're dealing with these markets where the price points might be around $15 or so. So it sounds like you have a lot of good things going for you as far as the products, and then the conversion rate. So I would say definitely kudos on that. Uh, the one kind of trouble with the supplement market is oftentimes if you start with the bids too low, like if the average cost per click is $4, even if you put a $2, sometimes it's kind of difficult to get low bids to even get any visibility in the these kind of markets. So I would say don't be surprised if you have issues with that. And what I would do is I would just kind of keep increasing bids in like increments and subsets until you get a high enough bid that you're able to like even test it.
Sure, thank you so much.
Mhm.
I will try this and will share my insights.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hopefully it was helpful.
Thank you.
All right, Daniel has a question, maybe a comment. Daniel's pretty awesome at ads himself. So I will bring you up. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for having me up. I just thought my kind of niche area was interesting and wanted to chat and see if you had any strategies, and maybe this is going to resonate with some of your listeners as well. So I'm in the mattress vertical, super
Yes.
high average sale price, um, long average like buyer cycle, right? Like a
Hmm.
lot of
Yeah.
research. So attribution gets tricky, and then there's no like, or the repeat customer doesn't come for years. So
Hmm.
what makes it challenging is like, top of search isn't always best since people are comparing items. So
Yeah.
I'm finding like detail page plays and low cost things. I'm having to be really scrappy.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm wondering if you've got any insights or if you've ever worked with something similar in your experience there.
Yeah. So not as high a price point. There's definitely a unique issue with the lifetime value, and then obviously with these products like brand loyalty, repeat purchases are great, but like you said, the long buyer cycle makes it even difficult to identify those whatsoever. So I don't really know if I have like a really stellar answer for you there. I wish I did. I mean, like obviously lifetime is something that we would calculate for clients, but looking at it over like a really long time horizon um is sticky. There are certain softwares out there that can kind of pull and look at buyer information, so that might be helpful. I'm trying to remember. I know we have access to one which we don't use as frequently as we might, just due to like some of our clients not really needing it as much. um Maybe you and I can jam offline and I can kind of look at what they're pulling and maybe give you insights there. As far as getting really scrappy, you've probably heard me say this on the other podcasts or other answers to people. The one thing that I found super valuable is connecting relevant shopper searches to like products. So we actually have done that. Now it's not as high a price point, but things like bedding, sheets, that kind of stuff, is connecting things like king size, queen size, like firm, soft, etc.,
Oh yeah,
to like
for
relevant
sure.
shopper searches. that's like super obnoxious to build out. I get it. Especially building it out across a large catalog. It's kind of insane. It's a lot of tedious work, but we've gotten like really good conversion rate results from doing that. Like really good conversion rate results doing that. That would be the one like scrappy tactic I could think of, other than like if you find, like you were saying, like product pages working well or things. Whenever we find those things, we just like double, triple down on it, like sponsor product, sponsor display, all the above, maybe even a sponsor brand ads, like advertising those kind of just like really trying to, sorry, my mic, trying to dominate a shopper listing. That might be helpful.
Absolutely. Let me think of something else. Incrementality is a top of mind subject for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
You know, like whenever if you're running a bunch of branded ads, you might be cannibalizing organic sales. What kind of strategies, or do you have any clients that are super focused on incrementality?
Yes. Although it being difficult to track. So the one thing that we've been looking at like incessantly for a long time is the looking at every single product in relation to like sales growth, looking at sales growth in two ways, last month versus last year. That gives us perspective on seasonality. And then also, and when I say products, we're looking at on a parent level, not a child ASIN level. Reason being is we deal with a lot of large variation listings. Child level becomes next to not useful because there's just so many like individual products. So looking at sales growth and then mirroring that with total ACOS, and then the other one that we've tacked on there, and again, been looking at this for quite a few years, is ad sale percentage. So if you're seeing like say total sales growth, but then ad sale percentage, meaning the percentage of the total sales that are being attributed to the ads, how you calculate this is ad sales divided by total sales. Then if we're seeing no movement on total sales and continuous increase in the ad sale percentage, that will clue us into if there's potential cannibalization there. Because the question is like really to find that out, you would pretty much have to look at it on a search page by search page level and then assume that like say if your ads are really close to your organic, are you cannibalizing sales? We've done that analysis really granularly and even like pulled back on some of the keywords that like, oh, we're already ranking here, and even though we're getting good performance, we pull back on the ads. We found that in a lot of cases just slowed the sales growth we had achieved. So it's not as cut and dry as, oh, if we're ranking well, pull back on ads for that one keyword. That can work, and then sometimes it doesn't work. So we found just kind of looking at it a little bit higher level allows us to say like, oh, something is or isn't broken here on like a macro picture, and then we can drill down into the micro and figure out where to fix it.
So you get the directional high level insights and the drill down.
Yeah, that's kind of how we've been approaching it, like those ratios, and then also just looking at again total ACOS and ACOS and saying, is this efficient? How much are we taking up of the total sales volume with ad sales, and then just letting those kind of guide us. So they're not, it's not like hard and fast numbers. You're kind of looking at what's the trajectory and then how far off am I from like my goals, and then just kind of almost using it as like a gauge to either dial up or down versus like one set, oh, this hits this number, so therefore it creates alarms kind of thing.
Gotcha. And then I've got one more question, and I'm really sorry for clogging up your.
No, you're good. You're good. I got no more hand raises. I might do a spiel if anyone is listening in. Oh, we got one more hand raise.
Oh, we do have a hand raise, so I'll be real quick, and I just wanted to get your perspective on keyword research. So I'll give you my use case. So you get a lot of searches like queen mattress.
Yes.
What's stopping me from just doing queen mattress phrase match and catching all those things with a good negative targeting for things like toppers or covers? You know, how important do you think long tail is? What tools are you using for keyword research? Because we know search volumes are hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
And just any insights you've got surrounding keyword research, long tail, and tools.
Yeah. So there is absolutely nothing stopping you from doing that. And in fact, I would actually, that's one of my favorite campaign, kind of like low bid. It kind of goes hand in hand with the catch-all autos, which if you haven't messed with the catch-all auto, do it. It's amazing. I actually have a YouTube video on the subject. I highly recommend going and check it out because I go through the strategy and also what you want to avoid when setting up these campaigns. The same thing applies to these types of campaigns. Is if I was going to do this in this case, yes, I would create maybe negatives, but I would also keep bids low because your potential of like triggering a whole ton of search terms is going to be pretty significant. So I would kind of want to hedge my bets in ad spend. Maybe not take as aggressive bets. So yeah, I mean, that's something we do. We do it single word phrase match, where you can do a single word broad match. Again, just make sure you keep bids low. Refrain yourself when you get insanely great ACOS, because sometimes you'll get like 5% ACOS, 10% ACOS in these things. You're going to want to increase the bids. Do not
Doesn't scale.
Don't increase the bids. Don't do it. You will long term, you're going to be in such a world of hurt. So keep bids low, keep the strategy consistent. But it's a great way to scrape those things.
Well, thanks so much, Elizabeth. I see you got another hand. I'm going to step down.
Yeah, see.
Pleasure as always.
Of course, of course. All right. I shall bring up the next person. Feel free to ask. Sometimes takes a hot minute. All right. Hello, hello.
Hi, Elizabeth.
How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm good.
Awesome.
And my question is regarding the automation. So, do you utilize automation tools to create campaigns and then later on optimize them, or you just perform your bulk operations?
Yes.
So, as you know, there are a lot of marketing tools in the market.
Mhm.
And so, what is the right way to manage 100 of campaigns?
The right way is the one that gets the job done and is the most efficient without letting things spin out of control, which is a very broad answer, but it's kind of all the above can work. There are agencies who use full automation. We use a hybrid of like some external tools that allow us to kind of speed up our analysis on things. But then we also have a lot of internal tools, definitely built off of bulk files. If you hear me talk any length of time, you'll probably hear me mention a bulk file. I love those things. The reason why I like them is because they allow you to create kind of whatever it is that you would like. So what we have, again, it's working off spreadsheets, but you can essentially build a software in a spreadsheet for very inexpensive, and it can be highly customized, which is what we have, know, and love and use. So I would say you can get away with building a lot just using some sort of automation tied to a bulk file. We also use what we call, I think I call it like our product sheet or something. So we have a way that we basically keep track of all the products, which then allows us to quickly pull in that product information into some sort of like campaign launch automation that allows us to launch things very quickly at scale. Is kind of our workflow. So for us, again, because we have that flexibility built into our system and it's quite efficient, bulk files works for me. The thing that I kind of shy away from when it comes to using an external tool to launch my campaigns is a lot of times those external tools want to just also automate the keyword research. And I found that if you're using something that is like fully automated for keyword research, oftentimes the selection it's not as great as you're going to get if you do the thing manually. So for that reason, I don't like, give me a campaign budget or give me an account budget, push a button, launch all your campaigns, and everything's great and fully automated. The results you're going to get from that are not going to be as good as you could if you actually took the time to do keyword research.
All right, got it. And I have one more question that I skipped in the start while you were explaining it to another guy.
Yeah.
How do you promote the low-cost products where the CPC is high? Do you have any certain tutorial for that?
how do you advertise products when the cost per clicks are high?
Yes, because in that case we have to maintain the profitability as the client wants to
Yes.
control his ACOS. On the other hand, if I reduce my bid, then I might lose the traffic as well.
Yes.
So
That
there is very thin line.
yes.
So
Yes. Welcome to the fun world of Amazon advertising. And I only unfortunately see it getting a little bit worse from here as the market gets more and more competitive.
yes,
So what I would
yes, the
say,
CPC is raising day by day for a
yes.
lot of categories.
Yes. What you're going to have to do if you have high cost per clicks, you're going to have to make up for those high cost per clicks with better conversion rates. That's really the only major lever you can pull, because as you found that if you pull back too much on the bids, then to lower the cost per click, then of course you lose all visibility, and that for loses sales and rank, and it goes into this terrible death spiral, which we're all trying to avoid. So what I would say is that any keywords you can identify where you have much better conversion rates on those specific search pages, you can make up for the high cost per clicks by targeting those higher converting keywords. So that can be helpful. Higher conversions also help with rank, so you'll add with that benefit as well. The other thing that we've had, again, this is more of a kind of test and see what you can possibly do. But sometimes playing with budget and looking at things as percentages of the whole. So for instance, if we have a heavy ranking campaign, but so we have to maintain high cost per clicks, that's going to translate into high ACOS on that one campaign. What we will do is then kind of supplement that campaign with other maybe lower bid strategies, or maybe things we're being less aggressive on, so that those other campaigns get much lower ACOS on that. And then if you look at the total ACOS for that one product, which is, ad spend divided by ad sales, as long as that total number works out to be profitable, you can end up with some campaigns that are a little bit higher, and then ideally some campaigns that are a little bit lower, and then the overall balance works out to be more favorable.
Got it. Thank you so much. I'm stepping down.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for your time.
Of course. It was a great question. I appreciate you coming on. All right, we got one more hand raised. So for those of you who just joined us, or if anyone has been listening in and unsure how to ask a question, you can raise your hand, and I will bring you up to speak, and you can unmute and ask a question. Hello. How can I help?
Hi. So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious to know, when you get a new client,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing an audit on the account, what specifically are you looking for, and what's your process of auditing an account?
Good question. So looking at the typical things, like ACOS, total ACOS. If I'm vetting someone to bring into the agency, the other thing I'm looking for is how reasonable are the expectations? Meaning, are they at 100% ACOS and they want me to get down to 20% ACOS? And that's not, like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't take on anyone who wants to do that. If I'm going to take someone on who kind of has those expectations, I'm going to do a really good job about setting expectations of, this is where you are, and this is what I think is possible given how high the cost per clicks you have, et cetera, because I'm interested in having happy clients. So I need to do a really good job about setting expectations. So my vetting of the account is all around, where are they now? What does the ad structure look like? What are they trying to achieve? And then how easy and or difficult is that going to be for me to achieve? And then I need to kind of present that to them. Here's the scenarios I'm seeing. Here's the difficulty in achieving X goal that you told me. Here's where I see the path forward. Here's what my expectation is. So if we have, like, say 100% ACOS, I could say, okay, well, can we just bring it down to, are you happy if we go to 80 to 70 to 60, and maybe let's shoot for break even at first, and then we'll see where we are with sales. So I know that wasn't like a step-by-step process, but I just to give you an idea of like the framework of it. It's not just I'm not just trying to look at what's broken with the ads, because if we're being honest, you can go into any account and you can pick out things that are anyone can go into any account. There's always something you're going to be testing that needs to be turned down. There's always negatives to add. There's always a structure that needs to be fixed. So I'm not only looking for, hey, what's broken? I'm looking for, here's the goal that they want to do. So for instance, if someone comes to me, my question is, are you looking for ad sales or total sales acceleration? Are you looking to get more profitable? Those strategies are completely separate. So I want to thoroughly understand what it is that you need to achieve for your business. Then I'm going to say, okay, given the goals that it wants to achieve, what does the ad structure need to look like to achieve X goals? So if they're dealing with very high A costs, very high total A costs, and they need profitability, then my lens through which I would view the account is, where in this ad structure can we limit the ad spend and still maintain the same sales? Because if we're going to get a better total A cost number, we need to be spending less and we need to be making the same amount of total sales. So then it's like, where does that happen in the account? How possible is that in the account? Where do we need to fix that in the account? Is it that they're bidding really high on irrelevant keywords? Is it that the ad structure, they have a whole bunch of products grouped in a campaign that, we really need to pull back on X product, but Y product is contained in there as well. And this is going to make it super messy. So I'm looking again, like, what is the goal? What do I need to achieve the goal? What do I need to fix in the ad structure to fix said goal? And then if you can present it that way, it no longer becomes your campaigns need to be renamed and the portfolios need to be added. It's no, here's what you're looking to achieve. Here's how we can work towards that. So, and then that's more of a high level overview, but I'm going to say that's going to serve you a lot better if you approach it that way versus just trying to come up with a checklist.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think it was a very good answer.
Cool. Hopefully that was helpful.
Thank you.
Hopefully that wasn't too vague.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's good. Thank you.
Good.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah. Go ahead.
With regards to structuring your campaigns, how do you go about doing that? I know there's different schools of thought on this. But what's your suggestion?
Yes. So follow-up question on that. Are you talking number of keywords? Are you talking products in the campaign? How are you?
So number of products per campaign, number of ad groups per campaign, and then number of keywords within that ad group.
Got it. Good question.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's the whole structure. Yeah.
So the easy one to answer is the campaigns per ad, or the ad groups per campaign. We do one ad group per campaign is our structure. I have an entire video that I basically go on a rant about the number of keywords per campaign, because my opinion is it's relative. It's not such a black and white answer. I give this spiel all the time, but I'm like, I remember a long time ago, it used to be no more than 100 keywords, and then it was 50, and then it was 20, and then it was 10, and now it's 5. Like, it just keeps, and then people do single keyword campaigns for everything. So like, it's relative. The two lens that I look through it is, how important is this keyword to my product performance? And then the second question is, how much control do I need to have over this keyword? The answers to those two questions will determine for me how many keywords are going to be in the campaign. So for instance, if it is a ranking keyword and I need a high level of control because there's a whole lot of search volume going to this keyword and I expect a high amount of ad spend, that's going to get a single keyword campaign because it's super important. I need a high level of control. But we were just talking about like single word broad match keywords and being really, really low bid. I'm expecting half of those to not even get any impressions because my bids are so low. So for that point, does it make sense for me to take 100 keywords and split them all out because I need only 5 per campaign? No, like that's going to create a crap ton of campaigns that half of them are not even going to get impressions because that's the strategy. I don't need a high level of control because I'm not expecting high ad spend. Are they super important to like my ranking and to the account strategy? Nah, they're not super important. So therefore I have no issue grouping like 100 keywords in those kind of strategy campaigns. So that's, I have a whole rant video. I kind of like break down that basic idea of like, it's all relative. Think about these things and think about it logically. And then as far as the products grouping, If we are going to group variations, which we do on occasion, I would never group more than one parent ASIN in a campaign.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes what I do is, if I have products that share the same keywords, then I might group them together under one campaign. But in most cases, those products will be under one parent product anyway. So yeah, it's one parent product per campaign. So I kind of do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if it's one parent product, I would say you're perfectly good. The reason why, if it was two separate parent ASINs, my recommendation would be to split them out. And the reason why we would do that is because the traffic is being funneled to different places, and also you're only technically eligible for one ad spot per parent ASIN per search page. So if I have more than one parent ASIN and I can show up two different places, I might want to adjust where one of the products would show up on the search page. And that would be impossible if I had them grouped in a single campaign, because I couldn't, or a single ad group rather, because I couldn't adjust the bids and have it only apply to one of the products. It would have to apply to both. So that's kind of the logic there.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the awesome questions. It was really, really good. Cool. So I shall bring up the next person who raised their hand. If you are interested in asking a question, we still got a good almost 30 minutes left. So feel free to raise a hand and come up and ask a question.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How's you?
I'm doing well. Not too bad. How can I help?
Great. Yeah, I have a questions here. Like I have 25 top keywords. We have 21. It's like almost all the keywords are performing well. The one keyword is there which is not giving a good ACOS to me, and it is like top search volume keyword. So how I can manage with that particular keyword to increase my sale for the particular keyword? For example, ticket arch. Suppose in US, the ticket arch for outside is a keyword which is top search volume, and I want to target that keyword to achieve my target ACOS. But unfortunately, for the particular keyword, my sales is decreasing when I'm increasing the budget for particular keyword in the campaign, and the rest 24 keywords is performing well, but this keyword is not performing, and my product is a top four selling product on Amazon. So how I can manage my budget to the top selling keyword to increase my ACOS for the particular keyword?
Yeah. So question, are these all grouped in a single campaign?
The campaign I have created like a SP campaign, a sponsor product.
Okay, cool. So back to kind of the question that the last was last asked on the structure of like how many keywords and what kind of structure you use for your campaigns. Kind of my what did he say, like framework or analysis that I was talking about on if it's something that's very important to me and I need a high level of control on it. This would be a case where I would recommend doing a single keyword campaign, meaning you have one campaign, you have one ad group, you only have that one keyword in there, most times an exact match. And then that allows you to set a very specific budget that will apply to only that one keyword. And so you can kind of adjust the budget based on how much you're willing to spend for that one keyword.
Basically, this strategy I have already played for the keyword, but my ACOS is not maintaining because multiple times I gone with the strategy. I created the broad match, exact match, and phrase match for the particular keyword, and I have created a separate campaign for the same. But I do not getting the good ACOS because I do not know why. But that I want to be the part of that keyword to be your top performer. I getting the sale with that particular keyword, but when I just taking that keyword in a separate campaign, it's not performing.
Yes, so that probably has to do with your conversion rate on the keyword. You will probably I think the best video I did on this was one that I did with Michael from Ad Badger. If you look up like Michael or like Ad Badger, Elizabeth Greene, what is it, like ACOS calculation or something on YouTube. I did an entire podcast on, I call it like a new way to calculate ACOS. It's basically a way that allows you to get insight into what is not working and why you can't achieve a target ACOS. And there's actually a spreadsheet resource that I gave out as part of that. And it basically looks at how conversion rate affects the ACOS. So my guess is it's either the cost per clicks are very high or you're not converting well on that keyword, which would be why you're not seeing good performance in the ACOS.
Okay. One more question I have here. What bid suggestion we can apply for the keyword? Like it would be a lower bid, or we can take the higher bid or the suggestion bid. Like what percentage we can just put the bid for the particular for a keyword? Like what suggestion? Yeah.
It depends. Is your goal? I mean, so really, there's only like two things. If you're trying to increase the sales, you got to increase your visibility, which increases your sales velocity. So in that case, you raise the bid. Obviously, the issue that you're running into and what you find is that at an increased bid, cost per clicks go up, ACOS goes up. So you can lower the bids, but again, that lowers visibility, that lowers sales volume. It's really, that whole dichotomy is really a function of how competitive the market is. And unfortunately, like there's only so much we can do to kind of play against the market. Like the market is what it is. The cost per clicks are what they are. Not because Amazon's trying to like steal all their money, which is what most of us feel most of the time, and I completely sympathize. But it's really because your competitors have recognized the value for themselves in that keyword, and they're all bidding aggressively on the keyword, and that drives cost per clicks up, which is kind of what you're fighting against. So, I mean, a couple kind of options you can play with here, and again, how effective these are going to be, it's a matter of testing it. I would still keep a higher bid. You can test if top of search performs well for you. You might start adjusting the top of search percentages. I would test this incrementally, meaning I would test like maybe 10 or 20%, see how that performs, and then kind of go up or down from there. The other things that you can do, because what you'll probably find for this keyword, top of search might perform very well, but the cost per clicks are just going to be so high that you can't really afford to spend too much. So if this isn't a single keyword exact match campaign, you might test putting really high bids, but then kind of limiting the budget. So you're going to end up with a budget and spend that is technically unprofitable because, again, the ACOS is so high. But if you have other things in the account for this product that are working well, like you said, you have an extra, 20 something keywords that are performing very, very well. If you kind of limit the budget on the one that's not performing well, then the average ACOS for that product, you can still work it out to be profitable. So that might be something to test. Again, you're just going to have to test and see how effective that is. Can you get the sales velocity you need at the lower budget to be able to make a move?
Thank you. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the support.
Of course. My pleasure. All right. I am going to bring up someone else. So we got a couple more hand raises. By the way, if you are listening in and you want to ask a question, feel free to use the reaction raise a hand button. I will bring you up and you can ask your question. Hello. How can I help? Oh, you'll have to unmute yourself. By default, it gets muted when you're brought up. Cool. Mohammed, if you're able to unmute yourself, then feel free to go ahead and ask your question. I don't want to put you down, but if you're unable to figure out the mic, I might bring up the second hand raise we have. Cool. All right. While we are waiting, I will bring up the next hand raise. Hello. Feel free to unmute and ask your question. Oh, we got another hand raise from Hands. Another one. Yeah, you'll have to. There's a mute button on the I think it's on the bottom of the screen. I'm not sure what it looks like on mobile. But you have to click that and unmute yourself to be able to ask a question, and then able to figure it out. I'll just keep bringing up the next person until we can find someone. We're able to figure out the mic situation. Hands, feel free to go ahead and unmute and ask your advertising question. Cool. Well, while I'm waiting for the mic situation to get figured out, there were a couple questions, which I tend to prioritize hand raising. But there was a couple questions that came. Oh, there we go. Hands. Hello.
Yeah.
How are you?
Hi, Elizabeth. Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well. How can I
It's
help?
my pleasure talking to you.
Sure. How can I help?
Yeah. My only question is, in the last few months, my particular campaign, particular product is not doing well organically. On PPC, it's doing fantastic. The budget, the echoes, everything is doing very well. But when it comes to organically, it's dropped down. When I was using Helium, I saw about from 500 organic keywords, it's dropped down to 200. So I'm not able to figure out what's the reason behind it. My SEO, Amazon listing is, everything A plus content, everything is optimized.
Yeah. Yeah. Question on that. When you say ACOS is doing well, is that from, I'm not starting at ACOS. When you say the ads are doing well, is that from a profitability ACOS perspective, or is that you're happy with the total? Are you happy with the total sales volume you're getting? I guess
I'm happy with this. I'm happy with my PPC revenue or whatever profit I'm getting.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So I would say yes, that's definitely something you want to fix. However, if you're happy with the sales, at least you got that going. Like at the very least, you're not struggling with ranking and have no sales and have no profit. So I would say you're doing some things right.
My sales are, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm happy with my PPC sales, but I'm not happy with my total sales
Not happy with the
because it suddenly dropped. It was doing very well, but in the last couple of months, it suddenly dropped, and I'm not able to exactly figure out what's the reason behind it.
So one thing I would actually look at is the search volume on some of your keywords, especially your top keywords. We've been noting some drop-offs in the search volume. That's there are some keywords that historically have been growing search volume year over year, and then all of a sudden we're seeing drop-offs. My guess is that's due to like just consumer behavior right now. So I would look into that. I would also look into what your unit session percentage is. So my guess is that your ad conversion rate is higher than your unit session percentage. That is normal. That is expected, and that's actually good. But it could be that you just don't have, like, your competitors maybe have beefed up their listings, or there might be other reasons why they're converting at a higher rate than you, and then you might be struggling on ranking. And then if you're going to approach this as to, like, those are things to check, but then you're probably like, your question is like, how the heck do I fix it? I would go through, do you have access to the search query reports?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. I would look at the search query reports. I would identify where you are converting. If there's any keywords you can find with decent search volume that you're converting better than your competitors, those are really great candidates for pushing for keyword rank. So what I would recommend doing is I would test pushing rank on a specific subset of keywords. Almost treat this like a relaunch or like a launch of the product. You know how you get super aggressive, exact match, you're really just trying to push sales velocity and climb up the rankings. I would do that, but I would be very specific with the keywords that you tested on, and I would test it on a handful of keywords just to see if you can get movement.
Okay, got it. So maybe indexing would do on the certain keywords which are found on search query report.
Yeah, definitely. If there's any way you can influence indexing, that would be, I mean, basically do all the above. If there's anything you can do to improve conversion rate, do that. Uh, Test for the ranking, and then also any SEO or for the things that help with visibility, will be good.
Great, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Good luck to you. Cool. Okay, I'm have a couple more hand raises, so you probably got about 15 minutes left. I appreciate all of you all listening. It's been awesome. So yes, feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Elizabeth?
I'm doing fine, doing fine. How can I help?
Yeah, I just came here randomly because I was involved in like a couple of months ago in Amazon, and I had a very little query in front of guys. I believe that everybody's more experienced than me. I'm just a learner.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is regarding the hunting. Like we used to hunt products, and when we used to go through Helium 10 or any Jungle Scout or that kind of stuff, we used to come across hundreds and hundreds of products, and we were given the criteria that it should have not it should not be 5-star rating, it should be 4 something,
Mm-hmm.
and it should have that much of reviews. But at the end of the day, we come across a a huge list of products.
Mm.
So at that time, asking somebody to get on this product or that product would was very very difficult for us. So
Yeah.
how do you summarize or get onto a very that winning product that would prove to be a good business in the future? I mean,
Mm.
it's a huge responsibility when you're taking money for that.
Yes.
So nobody told me the answer. By the way, I got paid trainings and all that stuff. I went
Mm-hmm.
through it, and eventually I left it.
Yeah.
So I just came here and thought it to be a good opportunity to ask the question.
Yeah,
I
it
hope that,
is
yeah.
an insanely good question because I agree with you. Product selection is huge. That's almost like the most important piece of the whole puzzle. It is not an easy thing to do. And I will be
Mhm,
perfectly frank,
mhm,
that is not my full area of expertise. Once I
mhm,
get a product and I kind of look at the market, um,
mhm,
I get a pretty good feel of like the potential for a
mhm,
product. But
mhm,
then again, actual product vetting. So I would refer, I don't know if you've heard of the tool Data Dive, but that tool, a lot of people are using it to help vet products. And
mhm,
also, I'm gonna have to look up his name. Um, Adam, and I'm gonna get his last name wrong.
mhm.
Um, I'm gonna look him up real quick. Um, that's right. Adam Heist. If you look him up on YouTube,
Okay.
he
Mhm,
has a lot of really good videos on vetting products.
mhm.
Similar to most
Sure.
people use a somewhat similar process. What they're trying to look at is how competitive is this market?
Mhm,
How can anyone get better? And actually, another. I have it here. Do I have it? Oh, this one. Tomer, and I'm gonna butcher his last name. That's why I'm not pronouncing names, by the way, because I'm so bad at
No,
it.
it's okay. I'm,
But
I'm I'm trying to write it down
yes,
the
but
way
it's
you were saying
called
it.
it's Tomer, and I'll spell his last name for you. It's Rabinovich. He wrote a book called Ride the
Robin.
Amazon Wave. You can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
And it actually, he has a really good it's more of a high level, but a couple different ways
Mhm, mhm,
to um approach product sourcing that I thought were really
alright.
insightful and very good.
And just to add, in the closing remarks,
Mhm.
I would also suggest that you can, if you can do that, because I'm in the office right now,
Mhm.
so so whenever somebody a newbie is coming in the business, if he knows how much he has to spend in the beginning to have a stable starting earning business,
Mm.
he will be easy on training, and he'll have an expected range of expenditure
Yeah.
that is somewhat very invisible to a new person, and he roams around in the industry, and somebody who dares to jump on. Sometimes he crosses, and most of the guys, they hold themselves back because everything is invisible, unexpected for some persons coming inside. So also, I'm suggesting that the person who's representing, who's just like you're hosting this event and you're trying to help people, you should also give an estimated kind of expenditure which is going to be encountered whenever somebody's going to start a business. That
Yeah,
would
yeah,
help the new person who are coming in. Yeah.
yeah. For forecasting, or how do you get into the industry? Is that what you mean?
Y- yeah, how a new person and how much investment he has to make in the beginning, a
Mm,
proper estimation rather than flukes. People just say that you can do it in some couple of dollars, and that kind of
yeah,
stuff is very pretty common in the market, but he ends up running away from and saying that it's totally a scam, although it's not. But they have a very bad impression of the industry. So
yeah.
just to avoid that, if the person who's coming in, gets the right knowledge, and with actual figures, he'll be able to cope it more professionally rather than part-time.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It is a business model that works very well, but it's not a get rich quick scheme. Nothing is quick and nothing is easy. Nothing good
But
is anyway.
we have a lot of them in the industry. Every other nook and corner, a trainer is sitting, and he's charging a couple of dollars, and he's building castle in the sky.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's enticing for anyone if everyone wants to make a lot of money and not have to work for it, but yeah. Stick around long enough, you'll figure out that that's not possible, so you just got to choose your avenue and double down on it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
It was nice
Yes, you as
having you
well.
around. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
You as well.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Cool. We got a couple more hand raises, so we should be able to get to you both. I'm going to bring up the next person. Feel free to unmute and ask your question. I appreciate you waiting. Cool. Paravine, feel free to unmute and ask your question. If not, I shall bring up the next caller. Or caller. Y'all didn't call in. The next joiner, the next hand raiser. Let me do that while we're waiting. Cool. Hello.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, you are. How are you? How can I help?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So, I do have a couple of questions. Like, if I have a product and I have one ASIN, so how many campaigns should I create for that particular one ASIN? Should I create auto campaigns, manual product targeting, and like a sponsor display, sponsor brand? So, what is the usual scenario? How many campaigns should we create at the start of campaign creation?
Good question. So my answer to what campaign should I create is all the above. But my asterisk is going to be what kind of ad spend can you afford on the product. So those are the two things. And then what I do is I look at you kind of like so what can I afford to spend on this one product? And then what I would do is I would start with my most important campaigns first. And then depending if I can increase ad spend on the product, then I will increase the amount of campaigns that I'm advertising for. Hopefully that makes sense. What I would consider the
Yes.
top priority for me would be in the beginning, if we're talking about product launch, is going to be exact match my main keywords that I want to rank on. Depending on if I'm struggling to gain impressions or I want to just branch out a little bit more in the market, I might also tack on a phrase match to that. It's not that I have anything against broad match. It's just that broad match will show you on a whole bunch of different search pages. So the potential for ad spend can be kind of significant. I wouldn't go aggressive bids on broad match. And that's kind of where we start. And then based on what we're seeing in the market, if there's certain products that we want to go after, there's competitors that we think we have a better selling advantage for, we'll start layering on those. If we have a video, we have good keywords to go after, we might layer on an exact match video campaign or sponsor brands video. Again, if we have the creative and we have the budget to do it, and then we just kind of build out from there. So what campaigns are we missing? Okay, we're not doing any low bid broad match. We're not running autos. Maybe we'll launch those. And we just kind of work out from the center, meaning, again, kind of basing it on like what kind of ad spend can we afford? And then what does our current campaign structure look like? What is our most important campaigns? Build those out first, and then just keep layering on campaigns. The reason why there's no like hard and fast answer to this is you'll have products that have very low conversion rates. You're struggling with stock all the time. They're not a primary sales driver. It makes no sense for us to build a very extensive campaign structure for that, because the amount of ad spend we would just be completely losing money every single month because our ad spend was too high. So we might only have like 1 or 2 campaigns for those products, versus maybe another product. We have certain clients where like there's certain accounts where like 70% of your total sales comes from one product. In that case, we have hundreds of campaigns for that product because it's a significantly important product, and we have a lot of, total sales to be able to roll back into the ads to be able to support growth there. So it makes sense for us to go like super extensive on that one. So that's kind of how we gauge it. Again, you'll find I don't have a lot of like hard and fast, like X amount of, you need 3 campaigns for this and 5 campaigns and 100 campaigns here. I kind of look at it through the lens of ad spend, and then how important is this product to the total account, and then just kind of gauge it that way.
Okay. Oh, another question. If we are running an auto campaign, and in the auto campaign, if suppose we found that some of the keywords we are getting most of the sales from the auto campaigns, so it is suggested that keyword should be created in a manual campaign. So if we like take those keywords from the auto campaign and create a manual campaign with those keywords, should we negate those keyword in the auto campaigns, or should we keep running the same keyword in the auto campaign?
I would not negate it when I move it. The other thing that I would want to do is make sure that I'm maintaining lower bids on the auto campaigns. So I'm not getting too aggressive with my autos and kind of like skewing the account that way. That's kind of how we approach it. The thing we found is if you negate it in the autos, oftentimes the manual campaigns at least in the beginning don't perform as well. So you can kind of hurt performance in the short term. And so because of that, we'll just maintain both.
Okay. And some of the campaigns that I'm running, like for the brand keywords, I'm coming on the first page of Amazon. Most of the keywords for the brand is coming from the first page, but we are also running the campaign with the brand targeting. We are targeting the same brand keywords in the sponsored campaign. But when we search with those keywords, we see that both the listing is coming on the front page of the Amazon, like the sponsor one as well, the organic one. So they are competing with each other. So is it a good strategy to do a sponsor campaign for the brand keywords, which is already coming on the first page of Amazon by organically?
Good question. 2 ways you're gonna use. You mean for your own branded keywords, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So in that case, what I would do is two schools of thought here. One, why am I paying for these if I'm already like showing up as my other one, my organic? Or you might pull back, but you might find your competition is bidding for those keywords. So there's 2 things you can check. May not be in the account.
Hello.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can.
Apologies. I think it's raining here. Hopefully my internet stays. So you can check. There's a new thing in the ad console that shows your impression share of your branded keywords versus your competition. So if you see all of a sudden, now this is only for the sponsored. This is only for the sponsored. This is not going to be also add in organic as well. So there is that. But you can check that. If you see yourself continuously like losing market share on your branded terms, then in that case, I would run a brand ad. And I also did a really, really good, it's on our YouTube channel with Joe Shellerud. He actually had a way that he analyzed this using Search Query Report to identify if you're potentially losing market share on your branded terms. which I found really insightful. Because you can look at your purchase share, your impression share, your add to clicks and add to carts. And then if you look up your own branded terms and you look at it on a brand level, you can actually gauge through the search query reports, like, am I losing out on purchase share for my branded terms? And in that case, if you are losing your purchase share, then it probably makes sense to run branded traffic ads, even though, again, you already have visibility otherwise, but just to make sure that your competitors aren't kind of like eating up your market share.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the answer.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully it was helpful. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. So we are at time. I did have, let's see. Yep. So I probably am going to end it here. I really, really appreciate you all listening. Hopefully you got something valuable on it. I have been streaming this on my Facebook as well as my YouTube channel. So if you would like to go and watch the replay, feel free to go and listen in on those channels because there'll be a replay up there. But as always, I really, really appreciate all of the questions and helping me have a fantastic conversation. So thanks all.